Good evening, good evening, good evening. A Better You Lifestyle, and I'm your host, Willie A. Price. Uh, I'm just checking something because Facebook has me in Facebook jail, so this won't appear in my Facebook. So that's okay. That's all right. We're going to still do the show anyways. Again, my name is Willie A. Price. Welcome to A Better You Lifestyle. Every Sunday at 9 o'clock, we do a show where we talk about how to make a better you lifestyle, how to create a better lifestyle for you, yourself, your family, your friends, and those people who you surround yourself with, people in your circle. So tonight is our third week, which is what is our third week? Oh, financially you. That's what we talk about on our third week. So I'll go through what we normally go through, and that's every first week. First Sunday, we talk about understanding your you, where it's all about helping you to understand who you are and what your specialized skills and abilities are, and how you can use those to be successful in life. How you can use those skills that you have to be more successful. This way, you don't have to learn something or have someone teach you something. You're learning about yourself and using the skills and abilities that you have and how you can use those to become more successful, how to create and generate wealth for yourself, how to progress in your job if you have a job, how to do better in school, whatever the case may be. That's what a better you lifestyle is all about. And understanding your you helps you to do that. Our second week is A Mother's Love. And A Mother's Love is where we talk about how to work with our young people, how to work with children and youth in the community, our children and our families, our nieces and nephews, if we have children, the children that we have, how to help them to also become more self-aware and how to help them to understand who they are and find their specialized skills and abilities and what they're good at, and using those skills and abilities to become more successful. One of the things I like to talk about when I do A Mother's Love, I talk about right brain learning, and I use right brain learning in a lot of the programs that I do. We do two unique techniques in our programs. We do right brain learning, where we use audio, visual, and auditory learning activities with our young people, and that helps them to be more confident in the classroom and in themselves. A lot of times, our young people are having problems with their literacy and their math and all those issues in school, but primarily literacy is a big issue, especially for our boys. And they have an issue where it comes to reading and writing, and they're not too confident or comfortable with writing or reading out loud and those kind of things. And as a result, they tend to fall behind. So what we do is we use what is called right brain learning activities, and we use those activities and techniques to help young men, particularly young men, but young people in general, use in the programs. We use those skills to show them how they can be successful through those skills. And then we use what is called the 4 W's to success. And we're going to talk about that tonight when we do our Financially You. And 4 W's to success is understanding who you are, where you're trying to go, what is it going to take for you to get there, and why are you willing to commit to it. And I'm going to show you how we can use that also in your financial awareness and financial development, because these 4 W's can use in any instance. And that's why I keep telling people the 4 W's to success can be used in any situation: relationships, life goals, education, finances. Whatever you decide to apply those 4 W's to, it can help you to become successful in those areas. So our third week, which is tonight, Financially You, where it's all about helping you to create financial, helping with financial literacy and helping you to develop ways to become more successful in your savings, in your uh, wealth development, and your entrepreneurial endeavors. Franchise. We talk about franchises. We talk about real estate investing. We talk about a lot of different things, stock market investing. But tonight we're going to start out talking about how to get on that, create that roadmap to success with your financial development. And so then our fourth week is making your house your home, which will be next week. Making your house your home, where it's all about real estate and housing. If you're a homeowner, if you're looking to be a first-time home buyer or things like that, we talk about all those areas to help you become more successful with buying a home and maintaining that home and what to look for and so forth. And it was great. Last month we had a friend of mine. She came on and spoke. Lakia Perry. She came on and did a presentation and shared with you guys about the NACA program and how the NACA program is a great program for first-time home buyers, where you have to put no money down. No money down, and you take a training through them, and through that training, they help you to prepare for home ownership. And then there's no money down. You get low interest rates. And I mean, it's a really great program for first-time home buyers and people who want to have a home for themselves. And I tell people in these programs, all these programs, you're allowed to buy up to 4 units in a home. So you don't have to go out and buy a single family home. You can buy a 1-family, 2-family, 3-family, or 4-family. And think about it. While you're living in that 4-family, you don't have to stay there but a certain amount of years, and then you can move out under that program. So you might live in that house for about 4 or 5 years, but you're getting the income from 2, 3, or 4 more units. And as a result of that, when you move out, you'll have 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, or whatever to help you pay the mortgage on that single family home that you buy once you move out of that property. So those are the kind of things we talk about on making your house your home. Tonight, Financially You. And we're going to do the 4 W's to financial success. The 4 W's to financial success. And what that means is that we're going to start out with understanding who you are. Who are you in your finances? Who should be saving? Who should be putting money aside? Everybody. Everybody should be saving. And if you made it through this pandemic, you realized just how much you need to save, or how much you weren't saving, or how much better you are at saving. Or did you save enough? Whatever the case may be, who should be saving? You should be saving. If you have kids, your kids should be saving. You should be teaching them how to save. You should be leading by example. I tell young people all the time, I say, surround yourself with better. But as parents, you're surrounded by your children, and you have to be a good example for them by showing them how to save, how to put some of that money that you give them, whether it's for allowance or whatever the case may be, how to put some of that money aside. So who should be saving? I save all the time. I save every chance I get. And so for me, I teach young people how to save. I teach adults how to save. And we do something as simple as we get a shoebox. That's one of the things we do in my program. We get a shoebox because all the kids have sneakers. And we say, take a pair of sneakers out of one of those boxes. And you take that shoebox and you tape it up. Put some tape around it so you can't open it. And you cut a slit in the top of it. And then every time you get some money, you put some money into that shoebox. And I'm going to talk about how much you're going to put in that shoebox when we get to where and what. And so that's what we do. We show them how to do that, how to save that money. So that's the first step to savings, is having somewhere where you can put that money. It doesn't always have to be in a bank. And I'm going to talk about using banks one day. It may not be today. I may talk about it a little bit later when towards the end, but right now I'm not going to talk about banks, but get into banks rather. I am going to talk about saving. You want to save your money. So you may save some money in a savings account or checking account, but you also want to have some money, maybe even in a shoebox. Or I have a container that I put money in, and I keep it, I put it where I can't see it. So that way I'm not constantly seeing it and wondering how much is in there and wanting to go in and take it out. And of course, I've been saving for a long time, but of course we still get those urges because we start to see that money building up in that container and we want to take some out and go use it. But what I found is that I use that funds to go on a vacation. I save up every year and I put that funds into a container. And then when it's time for me to go on vacation, I take some of the funds out for that. When Christmas comes, I take funds out for that. If I have an emergency, I have those funds for that. So you can see how savings, whatever amount you're saving, it can help you for that rainy day, help you to prepare and meet some of the challenges that may come up unexpectedly that you need to address. So that's how that works with the who. is who's going to be saving? You're going to be savings. You're going to be saving. And then who, where, what, and why. So we're going to go where. And where is, like I said, this is the where. You're going to be saving in a shoebox. You're going to be saving in a bank. You know, we talked about that. I just talked about that. So I did our who and our where. So those are the places where you want to save your money. Now, you may say, well, what do I want to save? That's up to you. A lot of times it's up to you. But what I do in my program with my kids, and I always talk about my kids because that's what I do my programs based on. That's what I teach this show on, is based on what I do with the young people in my program. So this way, if even some of them are watching, they're just being reinforced on what I'm talking about in the program. So they don't see me talking about one thing with you and something else with them. What do you want to save? As much as you can. But what I tell the young people in my program is I ask them, I say, how many of you guys go to church? And some raise their hands. And I say, well, do you ever see your parents tithe? Do you know what tithing is? And some of them say, yeah. And I said, well, do you know how much tithing is? A lot of them don't know how much tithing is. They just hear people say they tithe. But 10%, if you can take 10% of whatever you get, anytime you get it, and you put it into that container, that's not including what you take, for your regular savings. I'm talking about that special savings that you're going to put and you're going to start creating now. If you can take 10% of whatever you get, anytime you get something, and you can put more, but the goal is to put every time you get something, you put 10% in there. And if you think about the churches, they only ask you for 10%. But look at how well churches are doing from that 10%. So just imagine. And if you look at your taxes, sometime if you're a tither, you'll pay the church before you pay yourself. It should be the other way around. You should pay yourself first and then pay the church, because the church is going to still be going. And if you haven't taken care of yourself, you're going to be out of luck, and the church is still going to be going. And who's going to take care of you? So you have to pay yourself first, that 10%. If you don't do anything else but that 10%, 10% first, then 10%, into your regular savings, and then 10% to the church. And that's how you would do it. So, I mean, my goal is to make sure at least I do 10% in my container. And like I said, from that 10%, I've found that I have been able to save up enough where I've been able to pay for vacations, Christmas, unexpected expenses, things that come up. I was ready for it. I was prepared for it because I knew I had something that I could fall back on in case of an emergency. So what do you want to save? Whatever you can, whatever amount you can. But if you can do 10%, pay yourself first, that 10% into that container. Pay yourself 10% to yourself. Pay yourself 10% into your checking account or savings account for your savings account. And then pay yourself 10% to your church, 10% if you're paying tithes. And then whatever else you need to pay for your bills, it will work out. Because what that does, not only does it help you to learn how to save, it also shows you how to start budgeting. So you'll realize that certain things that you're getting your paycheck to pay off, you don't need, or you don't need to be doing. And I tell people all the time, I said, there's a need and there's a want. Get the things you need first, and the things you want, you can always get later if you really want them. And that's what I've always lived by. So when I realized, I said, I have people say, they need a purse or they need a pair of shoes. Do they really need a purse, or they need the latest Jordans, or they want the latest Jordan? They want the newest purse. They want the greatest watch. They want a new car. They want whatever it is. But do they really need? What's wrong with the car that they have? What's wrong with the 3 or 4 purses that they already have, or the 10 pair of shoes they already have, or 20 pair of shoes when you need 20 pair of shoes, only got 2 feet. So, so the things you have to look at is need and want. So under what are you saving is what are you willing to cut out and reduce so you can save even more. That's what you're going to save. Those things that you're going to learn how to budget and cut out. And if you learn to do needs and wants and learn how to separate those two and determine what are the things you need and start looking at those things and not always rush out and get the things that you want, then you're going to find that your savings are going to increase tremendously just based on that habit. And then finally, why do you want to save? Because we have just gone through a pandemic, and schools and businesses and restaurants and things were closed for almost a year or a year or more. Some places still were closed and some places never opened back up. And as a result of that, some people didn't go to work and some people didn't work, the entire time. So as a result of that, you would have needed some extra money. You would have needed to have some savings in place. And remember, they obviously say you need to have at least 6 months of savings in place. Would that have helped you during this pandemic? No, it wouldn't have. Because during this pandemic, you needed more than a year of savings. You needed more than a year of some kind of revenue coming in to help you through this time of pandemic. And so as a result of that, a lot of people suffered. A lot of people had some major issues. As a matter of fact, some people who are renting right now are at fear of being evicted because they weren't able to pay their rent. And certain states gave moratoriums where they didn't have to pay their rent during the pandemic. And now they owe all this rent, thousands and thousands of dollars in rent, and they can't afford it. And now they're being forced to move out. And where are they going to go? Where can they move to? It's getting crazy out there. So why do you want to save? Why do you want to have that money set aside? Why do you want to do that 10% and that 10% and pay yourself first? Because the more you save, the less you have to worry about situations like a pandemic ruining your lifestyle, ruining your income and your means for being able to feed and provide for your family. Another thing, and I'm just going to talk about, because I said I wasn't going to talk about too much about it, but another way to help generate wealth and save money is, instead of saving your money in a savings account, you can build up a whole life life insurance policy. And there's certain ones, and it's called Infinite Savings. And you have to find out from your insurance broker which insurance policies are the ones to use, because some of them you can pay into and they still won't. And I've been seeing that lately. Some people have been talked into some policies, and after 10 years, they still have no equity built up in their policies. And that's a ripoff. So you want to find policies that have the infinite banking, whereas as you put money into it, it allows you to be able to withdraw some of that money against that account and be able to use that money to help pay for kids' colleges, help pay for that first home. I mean, you can use it for whatever you want to use it for, but that's another story for another time. But I just want to kind of break you into that, learn about life insurance and whole life insurance and how that can be applied to, is it whole life or universal? I think it's whole life universal. One of those life insurance, the one that you pay into and it builds up equity into it and interest and everything. That's the one you want. I get them mixed up all the time. Whole life and universal life. One of those life insurance policies. So that's what you want to do. Again, a better you lifestyle, financially you. I'm not going to be on long tonight. I just want to come on and talk about this because we're going to talk about how to develop your finances, how to save your money. And like we already said, who should be saving? Everyone should be saving. If you made it through this pandemic, and I'm sure you have if you're watching this show, if you're still around, so you should be saving money. You should be preparing because things are going to be different now. And one of the things that's going to happen right now is that you have a lot of people that made money this past year using cryptocurrency and NFTs and all these different cryptocurrency situations. And a lot of people who didn't have money before have made money during this time frame. And as a result of that, the federal government has come up with all these ways of taxing you, reducing the amounts that you have to pay before you have to pay and all these things. It was like, for example, when you got money transferred to you into Cash App or any of those third-party payment plans, you didn't have to do anything until you got to $20,000, or I think it's $10,000 or $20,000. Now they just reduced that to anything over $600 you have to claim. And why did they do that? Because you have people getting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars through that Cash App and PayPal and all these Venmo and all these different transfer, third-party transfer situations. And they were getting this money and they're not paying taxes on it. So now the federal government and the IRS has come up with a way where they're going to come after you and figure out how to get that money from you. So that money has to be reported to the IRS. You have to be careful out there because they know people are making money off of cryptos and all these penny stocks and all these kind of things. And we'll talk about penny stocks and not the penny stock. We're going to talk about stocks next month. We're going to talk about some stocks next month and getting into the stock market. We're going to get into entrepreneurship. We're going to get into savings. We're going to get into all those things. So we're going to talk about that. And I'm actually going to post up a savings sheet next month when I do this show. I'm going to put up a spreadsheet where you can see how to save and different amounts you can save. And so I have that, and I use that in my program. I get it out to the kids and into my adult programs, and I do adult learning programs as well. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a financial literacy course on March 24th. I'm doing it for some high school kids, Niagara Falls high school kids. I'll be doing that on March 24th. They're taking a training at this program location, and the program asked me would I come in and do a financial literacy piece for that program. So I'm going to be doing that for these young people. Again, a better you lifestyle starts with you. Starts with you creating better opportunities for yourself. Who, where, what, and why. Who needs to save? You need to save. Where do you need to save that money? Anywhere possible. Shoebox, container, savings account, checking account, wherever you want to save, as long as you save. What do you want to save? As much as you can. Start out at least 10%. 10% and go from there. So sometimes you may put 10%, you might be 20%, you might put more. You might pay off some bills and be able to take that money that you used to use for that bill and use some of that money to save. So, I mean, you will find that when you use the need and want premises and techniques or theory and thought of frame of mind and thinking, needs and wants, and you'll realize that a lot of things that you want, you really don't need, and you stop spending money on those things, and you'll start using that money to pay off bills and get in a better financial situation, and then you'll be fine. A pandemic won't bother you. A pandemic won't bother you or your family because you'll be financially fit and financially stable and able to take care of the things you need to take care of without worrying about a pandemic or anything else. And then why? Why do you want to do this? I just told you why. So that way you can take care of your family and take care of yourself without having the strain and stress of worrying about what you don't have and what you can't provide for your family. Again, my name is Willie A. Price, A Better You Lifestyle. We had our first event for Better You Lifestyle, Inc., which is my 501c3 nonprofit organization. And we just had our first event, which was called Pulling the Race Card. And we invited over 90 people, but it still turned out to be a success. We had people that showed up, and those people who showed up really had a nice time. They really enjoyed the program and the whole concept of what we talked about. And just, it was all about bringing community leaders together and having a discussion and getting to know each other. And there were people there that didn't know each other. And so that was one of the things that we wanted to do, is we wanted people to meet each other. You know, you're all working in the same community, doing things, trying to help the community, and you don't know each other. And so that was one of the great things about this event. And I want to thank Mayor Robert Rustano for stopping out. He came out and supported the event. He had to go early, but he came out, Mayor Rustano, he came out and supported, and I really appreciate him because he didn't have to come, but he did come because he showed his commitment to the people, the residents of Niagara Falls, and the people of Niagara County as well, because we invited everybody from the county to the city. We invited everybody. And he came out to show his support and to talk to me and see some of the programs that we're going to be doing this year, and how he's even interested in helping us to do some of the programs and supporting us to help the residents of Niagara Falls, city of Niagara Falls. So, I mean, I thought it was really great that he showed up. We had a county legislator show up. You've had some business people show up. We had some leaders show up. So, I mean, it was really a good mixture. And I was glad to see those people who came out. They really enjoyed the event, and they really talked about how much they enjoyed it. And this is going to be an annual event for us. This is how we're going to kick off every year in February. We're going to do pulling the race card, and we're going to do an activity where we bring our community leaders together. And from there, we go out into the community and we do different events with the community on race relations and breaking down biases and helping our communities to be better. And it doesn't just have to be in Niagara County. We're doing this all over the country. We're expanding this, and we're reaching out to different cities and states and organizations to try to implement this situation and this activity. And it's a conflict resolution. We have a program called the Race Card, and it's conflict resolution and racial diversity. And that's a program that we're going to be doing in the community and in the schools. Pulling the Race Card is actually owned by the young ladies who came out and did the presentation for us on the 17th. Kazia Pearson and Sarah Pearson Collins, they're sisters. So they actually own the rights to Pulling the Race Card, which was their event that we did on Thursday. The Race Card program is the program that I created that we use conflict resolution and racial diversity, and is breaking down the barriers and helping people to overcome conflicts, which are in school, jobs, community. And we actually been reached out to some other organizations to do some other things with it as well. So we're going to be really pushing this concept as well as the other programs that we do. And we give out a whole list of the things we're going to be doing this year. But again, I just want to thank everybody for the support of coming out, Mayor Restaino for coming out and supporting that event. It was really great to see him and see that he's behind what we're trying to do in the community. Again, you guys have a blessed night, and I will see you all next week when we do Making Your House Your Home.